Hey guys, today's Friday. It's about 11 a.m. We are in the workshop. Yes, I'm still drinking coffee, but I like coffee. Brought to you by Intelligentsia. Anyway, this is our Brough Superior SS100 project that we're riding cross country. We've mentioned it a couple times. We're gonna ride this bike and another bike in the Cannonball, motorcycle Cannonball in September. So what is it, June? We've got July, August, September. We've got a few months left. We are working on, one of the big problems with this bike when we first got it was the kicker was broken, essentially. Where the kicker attaches to the main spline or the main shaft for starting, it was just broken off. So I think you guys might have seen it before. We can interject a photo of that perhaps. Anyway, I know that we cut out some new kickers and shaped them. Andy shaped them and polished them. And then we're splining a kicker and some other stuff, essentially a main spline for this. He's splining the OD of that, and we already did the ID of the new kicker. So Stefan's outside working on the machine, and I thought we would show you this first and then go outside and show you what he's making. Let's go out there. It's gonna be loud out here because we're doing some production, air compressor's running, and Stefan's machining on the other side, but all right, so you guys can hear this sound. That's the sound of sucking. It's up here. This thing. So that is the intake for the air compressor setup that we use for the entire shop. And what we were having was problems with our compressor having too much moisture in the system. So it was condensation, it was getting in the lines, we're having lots of moisture. And we were like, how can we dry all the air out that's coming into the compressor? And I don't know if it was me or you. Someone was like, we could just put an intake into the air compressor or into the air conditioned room that is the shipping container, and the air will be drier. So we did that, not realizing how loud it was going to end up being. That sucking sound, that's just intake sound into the air compressor. Anyway.
Yeah, and that sound makes machining in here suck a whole bunch. So not only does it suck, it also sucks.
But it'll get quiet in a minute. So
yeah,
hopefully
There we go. That's better.
Okay.
But yeah, we needed to do that because the humidity outside was just way too much. At least we've got it knocked down in here, and just punching a hole in the wall was way easier than putting a real dryer on our air conditioner.
That's how ghetto we are. It's kind of the point. So I showed them inside the Brough. We showed them kind of what you're doing. I've already talked to them about the kicker.
Right.
And I said, you were splining. Go
right.
for it.
And so this is one, I've actually never cut a spline before, but it's not terribly difficult. It's just sort of tedious. And this is one way to make a spline. And I thought it might be interesting for everybody on the internet to see how it's done.
But you need to explain what a spline is and what we're talking about here,
right.
essentially.
So the spline is all these little cuts around here, and it's kind of like a gear shaped, but what you do is it's meant to attach to another component, in this case the kicker lever, and that is, the spline allows us to get a really good grip so that it doesn't slide, it doesn't shift, it doesn't wallow out, which is what was the problem on this in the first place. So the order of operations here, we had Andy weld up the keyway, and then I turned that back down on the lathe so everything was nice and round again. And then did a little bit of CAD work to figure out what the spline form needed to be. And now I made a mistake there. I decided this was going to be a 32 tooth spline, which that doesn't sound like that big a deal, you know, picking how many teeth you've got. But the mistake was I chose 32, which is not an evenly divisible number for 360. So you've got 360 degrees in a circle.
Right.
I took 32, which means I have 11 and a quarter degrees for each tooth. That means
your math got complicated instead of simple.
Right. If I had done 36 teeth, I would have had 10 degrees, which would have been easy. I could have just cranked in 10 degrees, but instead I screwed it up, so I had to write this whole little Excel sheet to figure out what my angles were.
Stefan's a terribly good engineer.
Right.
Look at this math. Jesus, sorry, I'm listening. Okay.
Oh, this is, all right. So
I get it. I see it.
So this is...
Haas is over there screaming at us.
Yeah. All this really means, this is degrees, minutes, and seconds, which is just one representation of how an angle can be expressed. But it gets kind of confusing if you're not used to it. It's easy to figure in decimal, but...
This is what he's talking about.
Yeah. So the very first number, that's the number of degrees. The next number is how many minutes, and then the number after that is seconds, which is kind of weird. If you want to know more about it, you can Google it. It would have been easy if it was all in decimal degrees, but it wasn't, because this rotary table measures in degrees, minutes, and seconds. So anyway,
You went that way.
yeah. Now, how we actually do all this stuff, it's a fairly involved process, and it seems, I wanted to show you guys this because this is such a small feature that no one will ever notice, but it takes hours to get this actually finished. Between,
can I interrupt you
Yeah.
for a second? I want you talked earlier about the keyway and explaining the difference between a keyway, kicker, or attachment to a spline, right? Obviously, this is like a gear, so you've got solid contact between these mesh gears. And a keyway essentially is just a slot. If you've got a better way of looking at it, I mean, there's a slot
Right.
with a bolt through, so you've got one point of contact
Right.
where everything is hinging on this, so it tends to want to stretch out the circle.
Right. It just, by having a single keyway, you've only got one point of contact that's preventing the rotation, and so it's very highly stressed. It makes it easy for it to kind of deform and wallow out the hole, and that's exactly what we saw in that design. And the amount of force that's required to go into the kicker to kickstart this 1000cc V-twin is just way too much for that keyway design, and that's why we wanted to redo this for a spline. Now, there are other ways to make splines, and because this was so labor intensive and they probably didn't have all the tooling, and the machine tools back in the 20s weren't adequate for producing this type of a feature, we decided it was better, since we have this modern capacity, to just redesign that connection.
To go modern on an old part.
Right.
From the 20s.
So let's see, I just finished that cut. It's time to crank in to 303 degrees and 45 minutes. So here I can see, let me just borrow this for
I was going
a
to say, yeah,
second.
show them the gauge.
Let's see if I can do this.
Here, I can do it. Well, you do it. How's that?
All right, so,
Alan's shooting.
all right here, that's the major degree mark. So right now we're at 292, so let's go to 303. So there's 300, 1, 2, 3. And now we have to come down to this handle, which is over here.
Yeah.
So now you look at, this will be one of the most
trying to get it in
awkward
there.
videos
Yeah, there you
of
go. I
all
got it.
time.
I
So
got it.
there. Now, I'm at 303 and I need to go to 45 minutes, and I'm gonna go to 45.0. All right, we're in the right position. And now I can start
Crew
cut. All right, so now that I'm in the right position,
Hold on. Go ahead.
all right, now that I've got the rotary in the right position, we've got the camera in the right position, we can actually start this cut. So right here, fortunately we're on a CNC, and this will just feed itself in exactly at the right pace. So this is cutting one individual spline tooth. I've already done this 27 times, and I've got like 5 more to go. So first I got to crank into the next position, which in this case is 315 flat. So 315 exactly. Check, check. All right, and cut. And in just a few more passes, this spline shape should be finished, and we should be able to fit this kicker shaft. It's also worth mentioning, while we can make an outside spline using this profile cutter and a rotary table, making this inside spline shape is extremely difficult to do in a conventional machine shop. There's really no way to get a cutter in there to make that shape. So the way that we did it was using a wire EDM. Of course, we don't have a wire EDM, so we outsource that.
EDM means?
EDM is electromagnetic discharge machine, I think. Yeah. Again, if you Google EDM, you'll get lots of information.
It's amazing how it works. It's really cool.
It uses electricity to basically burn away the metal in an extraordinarily precise way. So with that machine, with the wire passes through here, it basically jogs around and cuts out all these teeth inside. If you didn't have a wire EDM, you could make a male spline shape, then cut teeth in that, and then force it through as a brooch. But that's a lot of work, and we didn't want to spend that much time doing it that way, so it was actually less expensive to use a wire EDM and outsource that piece. Anyway, if you guys want to come back in a little while, we can see how this thing actually fits.
Yeah, actually, that's fine. I'm thinking, I want to go show them the Haas over there.
Yeah, if you want, we can wander over there.
Yeah, let's do that. So, while we were talking about that, the Haas is over here doing its job, making noise.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's spraying too much right now.
No, it's not too bad.
So,
Get in there, Crow.
We've talked about the project that Airbox working on, doing the production cycles for some button switch housings.
Yeah.
And this is the first round prototypes for the 2-button housings. So this is the first time he's proving out this program, and it's a really good sign that he's not in here babysitting the machine. That means he's confident that his program's right. And so far so good, no crashes, making chips. It's actually going really smooth, which makes me super happy.
I just love watching the table work with the head. Like it's, I mean, yeah, it's 1993. It's like the future for us compared to, what is that thing, a 75 or something?
Early 70s.
Early 70s, the machine over there. We've transported 20 years into the future. And
we're still only 30 years behind.
we could just get Haas to support revival with a new machine. That's what we really need. We can make stuff a lot faster. So yeah, explain the difference between what a 93 automated sheet machine like this might be capable of versus a brand new 2018 machine.
Okay, so this machine is basically exactly the same as that other machine. These are both 3-axis mills. This one would be called a vertical machining center, and the reason it's a machining center is that it's got a full enclosure, it's got flood coolant, and it's got an automatic tool changer. That basically makes it a machining center.
Which is, automatic tool changer is this carousel underneath that will turn and change out essentially the bit on the end of the spindle.
Right. So
automatically.
This machine will switch to another cutter and perform a different operation, whereas if I was using that other machine that we're cutting the spline on, I have to manually change every single tool, which gets to be a hassle. At least that has a quick change collet on it, but
this took,
this is way cooler.
This is a big deal when we got this. We paid $5 grand for the machine and then fixed it.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, to get it here and from a friend of ours, same guy who we bought that machine from, bought it and it broke and he quit using it. He bought this machine, never really got it up and running. We bought it from him and then Stephen made it run. And has continued to make it run after we've repaired it 5 or 6 times.
So while this machine is a huge step up for us, it's also still massively antiquated. Although it has like 200 inch per minute feed rate, so that's how fast the table can drive around. Because of the complexity of the programs that we run on it and the kind of the details, you see how fast all these lines of code are passing by. So if we look at this, this is just blasting through lines of code. The processor in this machine can't process each line fast enough to hit the feed rates that we need programmed. So we have to slow everything down because of how old this computer is. And if we got a new computer, a new machine with a new computer, we could go way faster.
That's what it's carving out. Should have done that to start with. Yeah, well, you know, what's the CPU on this one? Who knows?
It doesn't follow any of those things because it's before like the 486 Pentiums. Before we talk about computers and like that type of terminology, this is before that. The reason we've got this weird Franken monitor on here is because the original LCD went out and that ran on a proprietary like MDA protocol.
Wasn't it a cathode ray? Wasn't it a CRT?
Yeah, it was a
CRT, not an LCD, LED. You said LCD.
Oh, sorry,
no, it was a
CRT is what I meant.
CRT, yeah.
But it ran on a proprietary, not a VGA signal, it was like an MGA signal, which was some weird IBM proprietary thing from like the 80s. So it's interesting. Industrial tooling always lags computer technology by about 10 or 15 years, it seems.
Right.
So when this was made in '93, it was using technology from early 80s.
Yeah.
But it's still working, and it still produces good parts. It just has to do it slower, and we don't have time for that. So we want to get a newer, faster, better machine that lets us have more capability.
What I love is you can tell that we built the container first before we had this machine. If we look up here, Corona, you can see that we had to cut a hole in the insulation.
To make room for the
corded
cable.
cables to go up into it as the head goes up and down. Anyway, dude, it's cool. All right, that was a long update, but I'm stoked. We're gonna test that spline shortly?
Yeah, probably 10 minutes.
When you're ready, let's talk on really quick as we put those two pieces together, which is pretty cool.
I'll test fit it. If it fits, I'll pull it off the fixture and bring it in.
All right, cool. Thanks, man. See you later. Andy James Dio. He's not in there. Oh, I think I hear him. Yeah. He's back here shaping stuff. The dirty hole and the loud hole. Watch this. We'll scare him. Hey! Hey. Are you back here singing?
Singing? Back here,
In the sound booth?
yeah,
You're making that last piece for the BMW, aren't you?
replenishing some parts for the BMW engine cover.
This thing does a really good job. You couldn't even hear it like in Big 2.
Yeah,
No noise at all.
it's kind of amazing for some half-assed
Some really
Home Depot
half-assed
bullshit.
yeah. sound deadening.
Oh, wait, was I not supposed to swear?
It's okay, we have ducks. Did you not know we adopted some ducks in the shop?
Ducks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You walk around. Quack. If someone farts, it goes quack. If someone
okay.
curses, it goes quack. It follows us around. It's like the Affleck duck. Let's go look at the
You want to take a
BMW.
look
Is
at
that
this?
cool if we interrupt
yeah,
you?
Take a look at this cover.
Yeah, bring that with me. All right. What did he say? Oh, we're doing some stuff. What did he say? This is German for
Dork Cave.
Dork Cave. Let's go into the Dork Cave.
Yeah.
All right, so that looks really good.
Yeah, so this is the actual motor for our head race bike.
No, we went through that, I think,
Yeah.
in one of the dailies already. It looks good.
Yeah, so this is the
The final piece of the
the last piece.
tortoise shell. Yeah, you've got a little ways to go there, but it's getting closer.
It's pretty close.
I mean, so what this was originally from BMW, guys, was a cast aluminum piece that would have been really thick. I don't have an example to show you, but the thickness of this cover would have been probably double that to keep it shaped. In fact, it's more like this thickness.
And multiple parts.
And multiple pieces, yeah.
Airbox with the...
Looks good. That's it? That's what you're doing?
Yeah.
This project's nearing...
Yeah, I
fabrication
figured,
end,
you know,
really.
we're ready to put the motor in, and it's a lot easier to work with this piece with the motor out. So we're gonna do that, and
Yeah,
then
might as well.
do a swap, and then move forward with.
I just love these.
Yeah,
They look so nice.
that was one that I think Stefan gave me that
This one's nice too.
was super rusty, and I sanded it and polished, made it pretty again.
The curriculum for metal shaping.
My ADD.
The curriculum for metal shaping is coming along, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, Pounding It Out with Andy James Dio, coming to a camera near you soon. The YouTuber-y. It's gonna be great. Yeah? Excited?
I'm not excited about calling it that, but
We can call it Professor Dio shows you how to pound metal. You don't like Pounding It Out with Andy James? I thought that was your name.
no, I didn't come up with that.
I think Pounding It Out with Andy James Dio is really good. All right, I'll leave you alone. Keep on.
Bye-bye.
Sorry I interrupted you. We'll come back when you're done so we can show the finished product.
Do you want to talk about
See you,
the
dude.
Urban GS? It's all taken apart.
The what?
The Urban GS. You just rode it in the last daily. It's all torn apart.
Okay, yeah. Where is it?
You want to talk about that one too?
Where? Oh. Okay, yeah, let's do that. So, what's going on with the Urban GS? This is, if you guys don't remember, I just rode this thing and almost crashed doing a wheelie. Not really, but I did a really hard drop wheelie on this bike in the last video, or one of the last videos. What's going on? What are we doing to it?
Well, so they Alec cut the airbox out of it, I think yesterday.
Oh, that's right.
So on this bike, the airbox is a mount for the computer, this cable crossover, the battery, some other stuff that's, you know, critical items to making a motorcycle run.
So you're gonna make a bracket to hold it all?
Yeah, so that's what Ty's
Oh.
working on.
Ty's doing it.
Yeah.
Are we getting rid of all this emission stuff or what?
I believe we are.
I believe I can fly.
But yeah, we've done that a few times on.
Can you
on
touch the sky?
On the R9Ts.
You're just ignoring me
Yes.
completely. I love it. Andy left his sense of humor at home today. It's okay.
Oh, you beat it out of me years ago.
It's my fault. Sorry, you were saying what? He's doing what? This is how every conversation is.
Yeah, because you know the tank and everything is essentially the same as the R9T.
Yeah.
We've done that a few times with Airbox Deletes and everything, so we're basically building the same bracketry.
Like what we gave away. The
Exactly.
R9T we just gave away, we'd done an Airbox Delete, which, you know, they're cool and
I
all.
think that was our first Airbox Delete on that one.
But I just love, and we did that in like 2 days.
We've gotten better at it.
I love the openness of this frame without the airbox. The airbox in the factory, just if you guys could see photos of it, it's just giant.
Enormous.
It's enormous. Yes, it makes it quieter. It probably even assists in keeping things dry. but it doesn't filter the air any better. And I like the intake sound that these make. Similar to the intake sound, we were just out in the container discussing the intake sound for the air compressor. Sucking, it's so loud. We didn't really think about that when we did that. Genius plan.
Not quite like a Ducati Multistrada with no airbox though.
Yeah.
I love how those honk at you.
Oh. Anyway, so this thing's gonna honk. And are we gonna change the muffler out? I think this is a factory muffler. I'd love to do.
It is factory muffler. I don't know if there's plans for that yet. I would assume there probably is. I know we talked about some custom exhaust options for this bike.
I'd like to do something. I'm gonna talk to Shrewsbury, see what he wants to do. Okay, dude, I love it. Keep calm, dude. Carry on. What?
Check it out.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
See if it works.
All right, you need to mic him up if he wants to talk. But you could probably do this. It's done. That was like minutes ago. No, wait. You must have already tested this. It does. It does. When two halves go together.
That's pretty exciting.
Wait, it's got to be just right. That's pretty exciting. Let's go for a ride on a Brough Superior.
Yeah, coming soon.
Coming soon.
Coming soon to a daily near you.
Dude, that's great. That's nice. And you don't have a lot of...
No, that's a perfect.
It's really nice, yeah. There's no... I mean, secure. This is... Once it's tightened down, that's not going anywhere. That's great. The only Brough Superior probably running around with a splined kicker. And we even have a spare. Great. Cool. Congrats, man. Your first spline.
Yeah, now we know how to do it. We can do it again.
New stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All
I
right.
love learning new stuff.
New stuff.
All right, I gotta go do other stuff, learn
right.
some more things.
Thank you.
See
Bye.
ya.
Bye. We just had a moment.
You didn't even say anything about him and I being twins today.
Wait, are y'all twins again?
Apparently.
Stefan. Oh, the glasses?
Yeah.
Stefan looks like he's wearing a disguise. Look, doesn't he look like he's wearing a disguise? What was that?
Groucho
Marx. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got Groucho Marx today.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's okay.
I think we're actually those are some of the things we're going to add to the website. Those
We're gonna start selling those?
super cool vintage looking safety glasses.
I like them.
They're
Yeah.
great. All right, let's do it. Okay. Anyway, bye. Get your hands dirty. Like, comment, follow, subscribe. Tell us you love us. Tell us you hate us.
All those things.
Go build something. Love you, mean it. Bye.
Go away, nerds.